when you get a check and you have a job, you can spend it on your bills. You know what I mean? It's income that you can buy cars with and buy sneakers with. I don't get a check. I don't get paid. I have to eat the food I kill. And every time some money comes in, it has to go right back out because I got to pay for my staff. I got to pay for my goods. I got to pay for my business. So it's just a different grind. But as an independent, it's worth it because freedom is priceless and it's worth the war. But it was something that I signed on to, 10 years ago. And that's what I've been doing. I've just been building my brand. So I built Rachel Roy independently. And, it's a big company and I'm happy about it. It's my ex-wife's, it's my ex-wife's name. It's my mother's kids. It's my kids' mom's is the boss, because it's her business. But, we still own it. And it took, 10 years to build that business. And it took a lot of money. I wasn't getting money from Universal. I'm not getting paid to do a show. You know what I'm saying? No one pays me. I'm the one that does all the paying and earning. So, it's just constantly putting money into companies or, just like how you asked me, is there another company you want to buy? It's like, shit, when am I going to be able to put something up? You know what I'm saying? I'm 40 years old. I'm getting tired. But I did want to have things that I own. See, with Rockefeller, after we sold it, I don't own it anymore. I haven't made $1 from Rockefeller in a decade, in this century. You understand what I'm saying? So if I was dependent on that, I'd be cooked. I really would be as broke as they say I am. But because, I'm an independent and I'm out there every day doing different things and being relevant, that's the reason why I'm still relevant. You understand what I'm saying? But now it's the money's completely from my pocket. You know what I'm saying? It's never from anyone else's pocket unless there's some kind of a mutual partnership that we're doing where we both put up the money. But other than that, it's all been 100% independent. We sold half the company of Rachel's because we needed it to be in places like Macy's and to get that volume. But anything else.
Because you mentioned that people talk about you being broke all the time, right? There's this rumor out there that you're broke. There have been various different media reports. And there was one that came out recently, I think it was the other day, that New York State put out a list of the most delinquent taxpayers in the state. And you were on that list, and I think you were at number 28, and the media, picked up on that. But what do you have to say about that?
Hold on. What happened? They had a list that said what?
You didn't hear about that? So New York State put out a list of the 250 most delinquent taxpayers and how much money they owe. And you were at number 28 on the list. So the New York Post picked up the story.
How much did I owe?
$2.28 million.
That's it?
Were you expecting more?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't hear about that.
Yeah, again, I'm a businessman. You know what I'm saying? And the most fucked up shit about that is, and I'm gonna take the blame for the tax situation, but Barry Clawberg was my accountant at the time. I was paying him $250,000 a year, and he told me he paid my taxes. And then when it came around, it was like, you didn't pay your taxes, and he quit. So it just left me stuck. I had a lawsuit against him, but he had already sold the company. He was indemnified. But the funny thing is, when you're young and you're making a lot of money, you got to watch the people that are watching your money. Or don't let nobody watch your money. Watch your own money. But honestly, I was told my taxes was paid. And it's like, how could you owe taxes if you're paying somebody so much money? But it's all part of the game. What I'm noticing is every single issue I have is from somebody cheating. You know what I'm saying? Like Barry Clawberg took $1 million out my account and didn't even tell me. You know what I'm saying? That's why whoever gets represented by Barry Clawberg, check your books. Because he's a thief. It's a lot of thieves out there. Business is dog, and I'm calling them out by their name. Because I would love for them to defend themselves and justify the bullshit that they've done, putting younger independent entrepreneurs in a position just so that they can feed their families. They should go to hell for that. You know what I'm saying? But, it happens. So I don't think anybody's in business that doesn't have some kind of a rough time. I don't think there's anybody that made money that never had a tax issue. But also you have to understand, when the government starts auditing you, you can't even pay your taxes. You know what I'm saying? You got to wait for them to finish before you know what bill. That's why I didn't know. They've been auditing. But it's cool. We'll work it out.